Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Big Bearded Warrior. Today, what I want to talk about is what a capable goon can learn from street gangs. This is going to be a tactical lesson from the streets. All right, so I'm going to just open by saying you don't have to live like a gangster to learn from one. If you're overlooking what gangs know, then you're discounting some of the most hard earned urban warfare lessons there are out there. All right, so this video is going to be a little bit long. I have a lot of notes that I want to go over. I'm going to go point for point with you guys, and we're going to kind of discuss it a little bit. Keep up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about this stuff. Let's have a conversation. Let's hop right into this. So, first lesson that you can learn from gangs is territorial awareness. Gangs know every block, every car, every face in their area. Their survival depends on it. They don't just exist in their neighborhood, they monitor them. All right. Now, your takeaway from that, as a capable goon, you should develop the constant area surveillance habits and learn your terrain so well that nothing gets past you. If one of your neighbors gets a new car, or if one of your neighbors changes up the paint on their house, something like that, you should be aware of it right away. It's just situational awareness should be a key point for you. You need to be aware of your immediate surroundings and your surroundings outside of your home, your neighborhood. Be very familiar with the people in your neighborhood. Something to think about there. All right. So point 2, they use decentralized networks. So most gangs, they don't have just a single leader. They run in tight crews and they report up the chain. This makes them hard to dismantle, even under pressure. So what that means is if a gang gets raided by the police, if a bunch of them get arrested, this doesn't fuck up their operation. They're still able to operate, make money, do what they have to do, and keep it going, keep the machine going. So your takeaway from that as a capable goon is with your people, get together. Everyone needs to be cross-trained. Everyone needs to be able to do everyone's job. You teach everyone what they need to know as far as the mission, and you keep it going. You get that mission done no matter what. So if one of you guys goes down, then you're still good to go. Because if you lose one person and that fucks up your whole mission, you're already screwed. Okay, next point. They are masters of urban movement. And what I mean by that is gangs move through alleyways, through rooftops, abandoned buildings, through sewer routes. They don't take the main road unless they absolutely have to. They understand cover, concealment, and choke points better than most civilians, and even better than trained law enforcement. Now, your lesson from that should be study your city like it's a battlefield. Learn how to move unseen and unpredicted. Most people don't live in rural areas. Most people that are even going to watch this video don't live in rural areas. You live in an urban environment, so you're kind of already behind the curve. Because if shit pops off, there's a lot of people, a lot of chaos. Chaos is going to happen in bigger areas. So you need to understand how to move throughout your community and how to fight in it if need be. So these are things to think about. Okay, so next point. Gangs, they build real-time intelligence networks. So what that means is every gang has spotters. They utilize the children in the neighborhood, women, they have crackheads, whomever. So that means they literally have a pulse on the streets, active intelligence. There's not anything that's going on that they don't know about. They know where cops are. They know if something's happening, if they need to move a stash, whatever. If there's other people, other gangs moving through their neighborhood, then they know. All right. So your takeaway from this as a goon is you need to build a low profile intel web in your community. Trust and observation go further than cameras. So you need to understand what's going on in your neighborhoods past your security cameras. You need to have a relationship with your neighbors, and your neighbors need to have a relationship with you to where you feel comfortable talking with them about what's going on. At the end of the day, no one's Rambo or anything like that. So it's important to be able to lean on, your neighbors and depend on being able to protect each other and get intelligence from each other. And maybe you don't have to necessarily say it like that because they're going to think you're a fucking weirdo, but just kind of have like a neighborhood watch in a way, I guess, right? Or even if it's just with your fellow homies, with your fellow goons, have a way to spread information. Live intel is important. So even if you got to befriend the local crackhead, make sure that you have up to date intelligence in your local areas. All right, next point. Gangs maintain caches and escape plans. Gangs stash weapons, gear, burner phones across multiple locations, rooftops, vacant lots, stash houses. They never keep all their tools in one spot. So your takeaway for that as a capable goon should be develop redundant caches, locations for your weapons, tools, comms, and essentials. Always have a way out. Never get pinned down in any situation. So that's a pretty simple Simon thing right there. All right. So remember, 2 is 1, 1 is none. All right. So next point. They communicate silently. Hand signs, burner phones, coded messages. Gangs know how to talk without talking. If you understand gang culture, you've probably seen a lot of music videos or stuff like that of gangs throwing up gangsters throwing up gang signs, or rappers, like gangster rappers throwing up gang signs, stuff like that. So if you understand gang culture, then you know that they're actually saying something. They might be saying something to other gang members, like a lot of times they're low key threatening someone, or they're saying "fuck that other gang," whatever. These are things that you, as a capable goon, should learn. Not necessarily gang signs. Don't get fucking shot. Uh, like, but learn how to communicate with your homies without saying anything. Have a language that only you guys know, a dead language, even. Like, if you're using comms or something and you have to worry about someone getting up on your comms, then learn a dead language to where you don't have to worry about anyone hearing what you say on comms because no one else fucking, speaks it. It's like, how many people actually know Latin? So something to think about. Or even if you need to make up your own language, do it. People do it all the time. Listen to mumble rap. Okay, so outside of learning another language or making up a language, maybe even think about creating codes or SOPs for within your crew. Say if something happens, one of your crew comes to your house, but it's not safe for them to be at your house. So you have like a coded message that you would leave them to say, hey, this is not safe. Go to the next rendezvous point 2 or whatever. So like, say something as simple as having a flag in the window, and you're just taking that flag and you're repositioning it, or a pot or something like that. Maybe on the back of that pot, you have like something drawn on it. And then when you leave, you're just turning that pot around, exposing the coded message so they know, oh shit, something's happened. I gotta go. So something to think about for you. Let's move on to the next point. All right. So the next point, gangs understand power of fear and respect. And what that means is it's kind of like hearts and minds. So if you've been in the military or something like that, then you understand hearts and minds. One point that I love to always use for people is there's an example in a book called the Fourth Generation of Warfare, and there's a story that's getting told. It's the David and Goliath concept, and what that pretty much is, a very quick version, is you can go into a community and you can be Goliath. You can go in, overwhelm them with force, fuck everyone up, and what you're doing essentially is you're creating the next generation of warfighters that are going to hate you and try to kill you. This works in communities too. So I talk about community policing a lot. So this is a great example of that. Now, the other side of that coin is the David concept. So you can go into a community, you could give them aid, you can educate them, you can protect them, you can let them know that you are there for them. Now, in return, they are going to be more likely to come to you and give you tips or whatever. Now, gangs know this. They do this all the time. If you look throughout history, you can go back. I mean, if you look at why people loved Bonnie and Clyde or say Bumpy Johnson, they did for their communities. People would go out of their way to protect them because they were for their community. People didn't go to the police when they had a problem. They went to the bosses of the communities because they felt more protected. These people didn't just roll over them with an iron fist. They protected them. If they needed help, they were giving them money. They were giving out turkeys during Christmas or Thanksgiving, so on and so on. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and be Batman and fucking kick everyone's ass and people need to be afraid of you or stuff like that. But what I am saying is, like, you don't need to put fear into people, but people need to know that I like to say, like, be the type of man who's quiet, but everyone knows not to underestimate you. Presence is a big thing. In law enforcement, that's one thing that you learn. Presence. The military, you learn that. Your presence deters a lot of shit from happening. It keeps a lot of stuff from happening. Be that every day in your life. Keep that presence. Don't be a fucking weirdo and like, hey, I got a gun on me. I'm gonna fucking shoot you. Like, no, shut the fuck up. Just be a capable goon, a capable man. People will see that. They'll respect that. All right. Next point. So, the next point is gangs. They train without even calling it training. And when I say that, I mean these are a few things you're gonna want to think about. Street fights, fast escapes, stolen cars, drug runs. Those are all forms of field training. That's all field craft. They're forced to operate under high pressure, stress, and real world conditions daily. Most of you guys get stressed out trying to figure out what you want to eat at Wendy's. So you're not used to having to make a decision quickly in a high stress situation. So this is something to think about. Now, your takeaway from that is don't just train in the gym, train realistic in real environments. On foot, in vehicles, under pressure, sharpen yourself where it counts. You need to be able to do the things when the things matter. And when the things matter, it's going to be fucking intense. You need to rise to that level of intensity and handle the shit. That's a capable gun. All right. I'm going to say this. Most grown men right now, if they were to fight an 18-year-old, they would get their ass kicked. And I want you to think about that. Really think about what I'm saying. So that's something to think about. So everyone's really quick to say, oh, I wish they'd come out here. If they came out here, they're going to fuck you up. And that's just a hard truth because they're doing this shit every day. You aren't. I say it all the time. Someone is out there training to kill you. And that doesn't have to necessarily be some fucking Chinese dude falling out of the sky. All right, let's go to our next point. All right, so this is my closing point. You're not a thug. You're not a gang member. But if you want to survive what's coming, study those who already live in a survival mode. Take what works and leave the rest. And become a threat with purpose. This is simple Simon stuff. You don't have to be gang, whatever. But you can learn a lot from observing people that are literally about that life every fucking day. And you can become a more capable goon in doing so. Hop in the comments and let me know if you learned anything from this. I hope you did. All right, guys. Remember, get strong, get efficient at violence. This is Big Bearded Warrior. I'm out.